All right. Well, Jenny, thanks for jumping on. Appreciate you making the time for this. Introduction, right? I am Mike Morrison. I'm an account manager at Pine Cove Consulting. I've been here for about 3.5 years. And I like helping businesses like yours find solutions to their security and IT needs.
All right. Thank you, Mike. I'm Jenny. Been a part of the Jackpot Casino since I was a little kid. My mom started the first one with her business partners about 34 years ago. Throughout that time span, we've been through a lot. We've seen a lot. We've dealt with a lot of different systems. We're really ingrained in our community and the betterment of our community. And so these products have really come in hand to help with those things.
Excellent. So I guess let's talk a little bit about we can touch on the background of the partnership between us, Jackpot, and even Verkada. I know originally Casey had reached out to us with some security concerns, and I don't know if those were across all of the Jackpot locations, but one of the things when we first started working with Verkada, which I want to say was 2017, 2018, it was obviously a lot different than a lot of the other security systems on the market. So when we were approached by you guys, it was kind of, hey, what's the best thing out there right now? And we stand firm on Verkada being the best and also easiest to use. It's very user-friendly. And so that's kind of, how we got introduced, I think. Did you have any specific security issues at any of your locations?
Nothing super specific. There were some, a lot more crime in the Billings locations that were happening pretty frequently. We, however, with challenges that we faced, the systems that we were using were extremely hard to navigate. To get online to see a video or get video pulled was very time consuming. It was very choppy. A lot of the times we would have to call the company that ran it to try to get video pulled, and that never happens quickly. So a lot of the times, by the time we end up getting the video footage, too much time has passed, or it's kind of a moot point going forward. And so moving forward with this new system has been a game changer, in the sense that I can immediately look on my phone at all of our locations. I can see what's happening. If there's an issue, I can make sure that alarms are set, where a lot of times employees will forget to set alarms. And making sure all of our cameras work. That's one thing that was a huge problem with the other systems that we've used, where the systems would record on a DVR, but you would never know when a camera went down until you went to view the camera for footage, and it was down for 3 months. So having everything at the tip of my fingers, where I really feel like I'm in control and can stay on top of these things, has been amazing.
Yeah, I think that's kind of, you hit a lot of the points there. Obviously, the security challenges in casinos, especially the legacy systems, right? They're more of a reactive sort of system, where the Verkada system is way more proactive. And then just the ability to arm your alarms, right? Whenever you realize that an employee kind of forgets to do that. What does that look like? Is that usually like a daily reminder you're just checking to make sure the alarms have been armed, or is it a notification you get?
It can be set either way. Right now, I have it set to where I get notified when the employee does set the alarm. And so sometimes that can be a lot, because I do have 8 locations that I currently monitor. But it gives me a good sense of when employees are coming and going. And occasionally, if I'm up working a late night shift, I can make sure that all the doors are secured and locked and the alarm is set.
Have you had any instances where the alarms have actually triggered some sort of event that you've had to check on after hours?
Yes. In fact, I had an employee about 2 months ago not lock the front door, and two customers had come in the building, and it was probably around midnight. So the employee had left early. They did set the alarm, but they did not lock the front door. So I did get notification right away.
Oh, nice. And did it trigger any response from the alarm company? Did they reach out to you? Did law enforcement show up by any chance?
I did not trigger police response. They called me, and I notified our security team that has, thankfully, an office right down the street. So they were able to get there quickly. And by the time they had gotten there, the customers realized that we were closed and they had left. So,
well, that's good. Excellent.
No foul.
Right, exactly. So obviously, in the past, I'm assuming you just wouldn't have even known that was even an event that happened unless you checked your cameras for some odd reason.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Very cool. Any other sort of things that have happened, whether it's, a customer needed you to pull up footage because of like a hit and run car accident in the parking lot, anything along those lines?
Yeah. So a couple of different things come to mind. Our hours can be a little bit funky where our open time is pretty solid, but our closing time can be a little bit different. And with our food vendors or beer vendors, sometimes they're running ahead of schedule or late on schedule. And so I love the ability that I can disarm the alarm and unlock the door for them so they can drop their delivery off and then go on about their business where they don't have to reroute us or get us the next day because there isn't somebody there to receive an order. So that's something that has been a game changer also.
Wow.
There has also, there has also been several instances actually where at a couple of our locations, we see a lot of main road. There was one instance, this is a pretty sad one. A customer that would come into one of our locations was murdered, and he lived a couple of blocks away. And so with the footage showing our parking lot and the streets, they were able to, with the time frame of everything happening, locate the person that murdered this gentleman.
Holy smokes. And they were able to actually see their face on the cameras from across the street?
I don't know because they wouldn't let me in on, a bunch of their investigation, but they did say that their footage, the video footage helped them locate the person that they were looking for.
Wow, that's crazy. I've never even heard that story. That's sad, but good to know that it helped get the person.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I know some of the things too I thought were obviously 8 locations was a little bit of an undertaking, right? Just to get it scheduled and all the install done. I helped on some of the installs, which was always fun. But through that, I know there was a couple features that you were wanting to have, and I don't think initially Verkada had those capabilities. And so you and Rhonda kind of worked together, and she brought that to Verkada. And now, because of some of those conversations, Verkada has since added some of that functionality. What were some of those features that you were looking for?
Yeah, some of the features include we have a camera with a buzzer system on it for it to ring inside to the building. So at night we can secure the building, make sure that customers and employees are safe. And if customers want to come in from the outside, they ring the buzzer, it notifies us. We can see them on the camera, so you don't have to physically walk up to a door to see if it's somebody you want to let in or not. And that was a function. However, the issue was that it would ring onto the iPad, but it didn't make a very loud or audible noise. And so if the employee is not standing right next to the iPad, they weren't hearing it. So Rhonda, bless her heart, worked vigilantly and found a specific speaker that we could connect to it that would play a very loud audible noise, so we would be aware of those.
Nice. Right. I do remember that. Yeah, those iPads only go so loud before, if you're not, like you said, if you're not right next to them, you don't hear them. So
right. And then one of the other function is being able to unlock the door from the iPad again, so you don't have to go up to the door. And so there's a lock and unlock schedule that didn't really work for us. But Rhonda got some things figured out with some key cards and how to bypass that schedule. So that has been very helpful also.
Oh, yes. That was definitely one of the things I remember. She worked a lot with Verkada on that one, and they got that implemented into the software. So that's always one thing I do like, right? Whenever customers have feedback or engineers have feedback on the systems, we can get those changes implemented. Might not be overnight, but we'll get it figured out, right?
That's right.
Awesome. Anything else, I guess, in terms of just Jackpot and Pine Cove? Have we worked with you to either come troubleshoot stuff? Have you had any issues after the fact, really?
I haven't had any issues. I do occasionally come up with some questions with different things. And I know I've got your number, Rhonda's number, and David through email. Anytime I have any questions, everybody has been so great to get back to me, working out a schedule, making a plan to make things happen. We just merged the two places over in Livingston, and we had a different security system in one building, but we wanted to relocate. And I know that wasn't on the agenda for you guys, but it got handled. It's getting completed later this month to 100%. And so I'm just so thankful, because I know with my places, nobody has time for hardly anything anymore. So I appreciate the relationship that's there, where I can pick up a phone or a text, and and I know that it will be handled. I just feel like it's more than a business relationship where I'm not calling an 800 number, and you might get through, you might not. This is real life integration, and I appreciate that relationship very much.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you saying that. We try to make it not so much a transactional relationship where you call into a call center and then they schedule a tech to come out, right? If even with the Livingston ones, right? We didn't necessarily have a person on schedule to come and do it, but I'm in town, right? So I could just go and help get some of the equipment out of the old location, move over to the new location. Right. And then when we had a tech available, they were able to just come in and get the rest of it installed. So yeah, I do appreciate that we can function that way with you guys. And then on the Verkada side too, right? If you come in one day and you noticed a camera is blinking yellow instead of the blue color, right? You can either do the chat directly with Verkada, and they can try to troubleshoot remotely. And obviously, if it's something more than that, we're always able to come out and take a look at the equipment in person. So I think that is useful.
Yes, absolutely.
Have you had to use the chat function much at all through the Verkada command?
I have not. I think in the beginning there was a little bit back and forth with just getting all the settings configured to suit my specific needs. But since then, I have not.
Oh, good.
Everything's
always a good sign.
Really well. Yeah.
But just curious, because I think your old system, you didn't have an intercom functionality. Has that, how did you used to operate compared to how you're operating with the intercom now?
Yeah, so the intercom is extremely helpful, I think, on, for instances, with 8 locations and having to depend on employees to show up. Everybody always gets sick at the same time, or somebody's dog gone out and they have to chase their dog down and they're late to work, all of those kinds of things. And where customers know when we open and they get there and they'll push the buzzer, I am able to actually get on there and say, hey, it's going to be 15 minutes before, the employee gets there. They had an issue this morning. We're not closed for the whole day. Being able to communicate with people through that buzzer system in those instances is great to let people know, to be aware that we are there. We're not shut down, and to come back. Right. Is great. And also, so it rings to the iPad on the inside. I have it set to come to my phone. So I'm also able to see the traffic that's happening in the later hours, which is nice for me to gauge scheduling and things of that nature.
Right. Yeah, because you guys are using the intercom after, well, I guess not necessarily after hours, but you guys eventually lock the front door, but you're still open for business for a while after that. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
And so then, like at that point, basically, you can screen who's coming up to the door if you had someone kind of suspicious at what time do you guys officially close for the night? Like 10, 11 when you lock that door?
By law, it's 2 a.m. That we can't have anybody in the building gambling or drinking. However, we keep it varied. If it's really slow for a couple of hours, usually around midnight, they get out of there. We don't like to set ourselves up for people that like to plan robberies. If they know that 2 o'clock is, or 2:15 is when the person's leaving and they can stand by a door and catch them. So we try to keep it pretty flexible, but we usually lock our doors around 11.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm sure employees probably have they voiced any feelings of more security? They feel better about staying later now?
Yes. Yep. It's and especially the fact that they don't have to go up to a door if there's a doorbell, to see who it is, to see if they want to let them in is a big thing.
Right. Right. And I'd imagine that goes the opposite way too with customers, especially that case, you guys have someone running late and you can at least communicate. They probably have been much more appreciative of that too.
Yeah.
Excellent. I think that's most of the stuff. Is there anything else that we didn't touch on that you want to talk about that, you just love something or hate something that you've been experiencing?
Nothing that I hate. Again, this entire system and the relationships has just been such a blessing to us and our company to be able to immediately access things and really feel like we're in control of our own security rather than having no control and knowing if you're really even secure.
Right. Yeah. And then, I guess that's a good point too, because the not knowing if you're secure, but then you have the old companies, right? A lot of times for them to even come out and retrieve video footage, they charge for that type of service. So for you to have all the control in your own hands and pull up the footage and, I don't know your tech level, but it's pretty user friendly, right? To just go in there and click around. I think even, in our initial discussions when we sent the trial cameras out, your mom even mentioned that she was able to see some stuff in there pretty easily and was impressed by how easy it was for her to get in there and use it.
Absolutely. Yes. I can keep up with technology, but I am by no means tech savvy. So it's very user friendly. You get in there, you do it a couple of times and it just becomes second nature for sure.